quite frankly, it was borderline depressing for us when we looked at our finances and our situation and what we owed. I was never a great steward of money, I guess. When I saw something that I wanted, I bought it. You know, if it was a four-wheeler and I wanted it, I bought it. And all I ever really looked at was if you could handle that monthly payment, never really looking at the grand scheme of the total debt. And then in 2013, I had a major job transition, and it was pretty significant. It resulted in a loss of about a third to nearly half of my income, and it kind of threw me into a tailspin personally, and us into a tailspin as a family financially. We ended up we sold a truck, we sold the four-wheeler, just to restructure to a point that we could survive as it was, thinking that that's really what we were doing. And then in 2018, after hearing some other people talk about Financial Peace University and what they had accomplished and what it had meant to them, we figured it certainly can't hurt to give this a shot. So we enrolled in it, and we kind of made a decision together at the first class that we were either going to be all in or we were going to drop out.
Yeah, so we gathered all of our credit cards that we had. I forget what the total was, but we grabbed all of those, and in class number 2, took them in and cut them all up. It really wasn't difficult to do because we knew we'd be okay. God would see us through. It was the beginning of an adventure, for sure.
We restructured our life insurance policies. We reconsolidated our mortgage. We got rid of things like cable TV and satellite TV and different subscriptions that we had, like Sirius XM radio in our cars and those types of things.
A lot of things that people wouldn't even consider changing, they just came to us and we decided that's what we were going to do.
Yeah. God really kind of showed us at that point the difference between things that were important and necessary versus the things that were really just meaningless luxuries. And knowing the situation that we were in and the commitment that we made, and it really was a commitment. It was a form of surrender to God that for the first time we were really turning our finances over to Him, and letting Him direct instead of us making all the choices. And when He led us, we started to realize some things just really didn't matter that much.
I think the major things that God showed us through this whole journey is, 1, how to prioritize things. 2 would be really look at your wants versus your needs. Do you really, need that, or is it something that you want? And one of the big things I noticed was, it was probably in class 4. I looked around and I'm like, I have to be honest, I was a little jealous of some of the younger people, because I was like, oh.
So we're old.
And if I knew that, what I'm learning now, we would have been in a much better spot. So my advice to young people is enroll in the class and learn as much as you can about finances and how God would like to see you spend His money.
I think that's really the key is, I know we've even talked in services that God's system versus our system are completely flip-flopped. They're upside down. So it took us really coming to the realization of what God's system looked like for us. And if young people can grab that, despite what our culture and our society and media and television is telling people is important in their lives, and just focus on what God says is important.
But for us older folks, it's never too late. And so that was the refreshing thing that I learned. I looked around and I was a little jealous of the younger people. They have their whole lives in front of them, but God showed me it's never too late.
And it really wasn't. If you had told me going into the class that in the span of about 2 to 2.5 years, at the near age of 50, that I would find a way, after losing a third of my income, to pay off approximately $75,000 worth of debt in that period of time, I'd have thought you were crazy. I'd have thought you were out of your mind. There's absolutely no way it could possibly happen. But it did. We crunched everything and made it work. We were committed to it. It wasn't easy. There were times we still had teenagers at home, so there were times there was conflict between us and the kids because they didn't understand at the time the significance of the struggle that we were in to get our situation better. So it resulted in some things with the teenagers.
It also taught them along the way. It was a great learning opportunity for all of us. We were celebrating our 25th anniversary and wanted to go away. So
for the first time, really, since we had gotten married.
So we decided, let's go to Aruba. We had this planned and it was booked, and then we go through the class and it really chewed at us. Like, we said to each other,
it wasn't right.
I don't think we're supposed to do this, even though it was our anniversary and we had waited for years and had it booked. We canceled it. And sometimes you have to make those sacrifices in order to have that peace. And so that's what we did. And
I certainly don't regret it because I don't think it was anything that hurt our relationship in any way.
No.
If anything, I think it just made us more formidable in our relationship to go at things together.
Mm-hmm. And
still
haven't been there.
Still haven't been to Aruba, but maybe someday we will get there.
Haven't gone on a trip, but maybe someday. But it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So it's a great program for any age group, any situation, married, single, kids, no kids. I don't think it really matters because it's really understanding. It's understanding God's financial system versus ours. Mm-hmm.
And giving you a peace. It's Financial Peace University, and it gives you a peace.
Yeah, it really does, because I was definitely not at peace going into it. Mm-hmm. Even a few weeks into it, though we were kind of pumped up and we were gazelle-like, as they would say in the program, there was still a lot of anxiousness about it, like, are we really going to make this work? Can we really see the light at the end of the tunnel? And then just little by little, the light got bigger and brighter, and until we were there. Now we're in a situation where we have no credit card debt. We do have a mortgage. We have no car payments. So all those things are a plus. We're trying to help our kids with some of their school loans to assist them. So, being able to help them in their situation and maybe get them on a better track that didn't necessarily model for them in a great way when they were younger. I think it's just an awesome place to be. In God's financial system, you see things in the New Testament, in the Gospels, where he had the parable where he told them to go and sell everything, because it was the earthly possession, the earthly things, the material things were the things that had no importance and no significance. But the relationship that you had with people and the message that you took to them in the form of the gospel, in who Jesus was and what he did for us, those are the things that mean something. Those are the things that are really weighty in God's culture versus our culture. I'd like to say that we've always been a little bit on the naturally generous side, not to sound, I hate saying it that way because it almost sounds prideful, and that's certainly not what we want to be. But I think in terms of generosity, it's allowed us to be a lot more flexible, a lot more not pressed. Like, you didn't go to a restaurant and think, okay, we just had a great experience, but we can only afford to tip 15%.
Right, we didn't have to really think about it anymore. It's just, okay, let's do this.
We wanted to do it. We could.
We did it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Galatians 6:9 says, don't be weary in doing good, for in due season you'll reap, if you faint not. So going into this, we knew it was going to be a process, and it wasn't going to be easy, and it was probably going to tucker us out. And as gazelle-like as we wanted to be, there were probably times where we were still going to be gassing it at the end of the day. But we continued to press, and because we knew God had something better for us. And I really think he has. The result of our surrender to him, just in the area of finances, has really put us in a better place in all of our relationships with small groups and our involvement in the church and things that we do. It's just given us a lot more peace, a lot more flexibility than we would have ever had before. And haven't used a credit card in 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels good.
So yeah, it's pretty awesome.